Hello, everyone, and welcome to a free Alumni Stories series. This is where we highlight the incredible journey of our past learners and show how education can open doors, create opportunities, and transform lives. This is about real stories, real growth, and real journey. At Afrige, it's all about empowering people through accessible, interactive, and flexible learning. In this particular series, we reconnect with our alumni to hear their experiences, the challenges they have faced, the skills they gained, and how their time with the free G learning shaped where they are today. Today, we are excited to talk with Ms. Aisha Zafar, who completed her Introduction to Python course at Free Learning. We'll learn about her experiences, her growth, and her advice for the current and the future students currently enrolled at Free Learning. So let's get started. Aisha, thank you so much for being with us, and I'm so glad that we have got to experience and talk to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me and interviewing me for this.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm getting a really good energies from you as well. So please give us a little introduction to yourself and tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, my name is Aisha Zafar. I completed my schooling in Saudi, where it was the first time I was introduced to computer science, and then now currently I'm enrolled in uni at Monash University, where I'm doing Bachelor's of Computer Science with specification towards data science. I'm currently going through my summer vacations right now because of the change in Australia and the rest of the world, and I go to an Australian uni, so I had my summer vacations right now. So I was currently interning as well.
Oh, that's great. And how are you juggling in between this in between countries? Like, are you coping up properly? How is it? Tell me the experience of being in Saudi and then the Australia thing. How are you coping up?
It's I would say it's pretty nice being here right now, especially because of Ramadan and getting to celebrate that with family. So that's a good change. But as well, coping with different countries, I guess it's just well, my Australian uni is in Malaysia basically. So
Okay.
there's like a bit of a time difference between where I am and where the rest of my family is. So like just really getting to keep up with everyone and getting the time to, stay in each other's lives somewhat gets a bit difficult, especially at times when we're all very busy with things.
Okay, and tough break, tough break. I'm so glad you're doing so much at such an age, and again juggling in between time zones. That's something I experienced when I came into my professional life, and that's really great. So kudos to you. I would like to know, as we have already mentioned, that your course that you have taken at Free Learning was Introduction to Python. I would really like to know what initially motivated you to join a Free. Was computer sciences, coding? Was the initial choice for you? You always wanted to do this, or you want to do something else and then got introduced to the coding aspect of things?
For me, funnily enough, I wanted to be a doctor at first, like most people in
Okay.
Pakistan want to be. But I guess just looking around me, everybody was becoming a doctor, and it became such an oversaturated field. Plus, going into medical is a very long commitment, and I doubted that as well. So that time I saw like everyone around me also slowly opting towards technical fields such as computer science, and it was an emerging field at that time. It still is an emerging field at this point. So it really opened me to the idea of going towards other things. Plus, our school also newly started introducing A-level Python A-level computer science to us. So it really opened new doors for me. And so I was able to go into coding, and that prompted me to join a Fridge as well later on.
That's great. That's great, and I really liked it. The thing you mentioned that everybody in Pakistan, all female students in Pakistan wants to become a doctor or go into medical at first. It's kind of a dilemma here, and I hope that with time you're an example, and I hope that when other students get to hear you, they get to realize that there are other venues and dimensions where they can go for when it comes to their professional choices, and that's really great. But how do you got to know about a fridge? Like, was there you searched for it or somebody recommended it? How you got in touch with a fridge team?
For me, basically, as I told you, I was thrown into the deep end when it came to computer science with joining it while I was in A levels. So I didn't really have any previous previous expertise in any sort of computer science before. So while I was at school, and there were like a bunch of students who joined with me during A levels as well, so we were all kind of struggling in the beginning a bit, and that's when word got around just basically people who had already been learning with Afreej told us about this. Plus, my mother also knew Miss Farah, who runs. She's one of the members of Afreej. So it's just like all these people at once. I got to know about Afreej, and then I needed the help in computer science, which prompted me to join.
Amazing. And if looking at it from a third person point of view, is like it's not wrong to say it's kind of a divine intervention. Working in thinking about being in medical, then thinking about I need another dimension, and then everything is coming together. That's really really great. And let's talk about experiences. So, how would you describe your learning experience on a Frege during your introduction to Python course?
For my learning experience, I would say it was an amazing experience because I was new to computer science. I had a lot of doubts because there are people who have been doing it for a very long time, and I'd just gotten into it. So I had a lot of doubts regarding, things I had to do. Plus, I had to give my exams within the same year that I joined it as well. So the fact we are able to communicate with our tutors through WhatsApp and other places, whatever your tutor advises you. So that was really helpful because that meant like I could get in contact with communicate with my tutor at any moment that I wanted. And with all the things that I was learning all at once, I had a lot of doubts, especially regarding the basics. So just the fact that I was able to leave a message and my tutor to reply to me within, a few minutes or hours, but whenever they had availability was really, really helpful for me in the long run because that meant I was able to just ask whatever came to me and I was given help regarding that.
That's great. And one of the features of free learning that it provides that right away interactive learning. If you have a query, you have a tutors group, you can ask your query there, you put your questions there, and they'll be answered as soon as possible. So that is really amazing. I would like to dive into another thing that you have mentioned earlier that you got to know about it. It was very different and difficult to, start getting into coding. It's not something you have chosen from the very beginning of your student life. How difficult was it to opting? And definitely because through a Frege, your introduction to Python was also your introduction to coding and your introduction to computing and softwares in real life. So, how was that transition? And how was the experience of going through that transition personally, in terms of education, family wise? How was it?
Family wise, I would say it was pretty easy. Because a lot of people around me were also starting to go into computer science, and my parents were like, "Oh, this is pretty good." Especially my dad, who he was like, because he's also in a professional setting, so he was able to realize that going into a technical field would be a good opportunity for me.
Okay.
For personal, also, I feel like it didn't take much for me to shift my focus from medical to computer science as well. Because again, as I said, medicine is a very long commitment, and
It
I
sure
didn't
is.
really know if I had it in me to commit that long to one field. Uh, because I feel like at the end of the day I'm a bit indecisive. So just something that was so computer science was a good option for me in that sense as well. And then yeah, going into it new, I was kind of overwhelmed with all that I had to learn. So joining a Fridge and starting from the very basics and the help that I was given was really helpful because as I slowly got to know more about Python coding and stuff, I was able to calm down and like really look at things from a different perspective. And then I was like, oh, this is not as difficult as I was making it to be for
Wow.
myself.
Yeah. That's amazing. Initially, whenever you try to do something new, there always that element of fear, the perspective fear. Actually, it's not there. It's just a perspective of fear which we face and we experience. And once we get to have a grip on things and get a handle on things, it just start looking so easy and so amazing. That's really great. While talking about being helped, which feature of the platform? A free learning help you the most? Like, for example, adaptive learning, multimedia content, interactive activities, having a tutors group. Which of these features help you the most during your learning experience at a free?
I would say adaptive learning as well as just communication with my tutor. As I said, communication with my tutor was obviously pretty good for me, and also the fact that you could communicate in a group of people who were studying the same thing. It really gave you new perspectives when students were coming and asking questions to the teacher. So you were like, "Oh, I didn't think about it like that," and it gave you new perspectives to learn from. As for adaptive learning, it was like, oh, there's a certain topic that I'm currently stuck at, but we're not really covering that in our courses right now. But you could just ask that to the tutor, and if it was like, oh, a lot of people have doubts on the same thing, so just changing according to what the students were demanding were quite nice because that meant we were all able to learn as we wanted on our terms, so which was quite helpful because there are certain topics that the tutor might think we need to focus more on, but everybody gets it, but the tutor might not know of it. So just adapting according to what we needed was quite
Yeah.
helpful for us.
And that actually is a very great thing. I am now, right now, resonating back to the days where I was learning. I was going through my like initial learning years. The kind of experience a free e-learning is offering, I never had that. So we had queries, and it was a one-on-one classroom session. But our teacher used to say, "Okay, this is going to be dealt with after 2 months. So we are going to hit that chapter, or this is not important at the moment." I personally prefer if even if it's not important for the in the for the course, it definitely is going to be important for your overall learning of that particular subject, because somehow asking good and intuitive questions is very important for critical thinking, and to have that learning flexibility. And that is amazing, which a Frege is offering at the moment, and they built their foundation on these features, and that is really something a good learning environment or critical thinking development needs. So I'm so glad that you have mentioned it. Right now I'm resonating, and I'm wishing I should have been enrolled at Frege at that time, but I guess not in my books. But did the flexibility of learning at your own pace make a difference for you? Because it definitely gets a little tiring. You have your A level, O level studies, and you have your course, and you have other things going on, because everything is connected these days. As a global village, we have so many things going on. So, did it actually made a difference for you, and how it made a difference for you?
For me, it really made sure that I did not miss lessons because I remember there was a time where I had to take my lessons, but due to some family emergency, as I told you, as I mentioned, that I live in Saudi, but because of a family emergency, I had to be in Pakistan. And so the fact that it was, first of all, virtual and then we had flexibility of timings and stuff really helped because that made sure that I did not miss lessons. And I was really able to communicate that. Not missing lessons was big because, again, I was new to coding and missing meant like I was falling behind, and so just getting to keep up with the rest of the class because of the flexibility that we were given was very, very helpful for me.
That's great, and yes, definitely. As I've mentioned, yeah, there are things that goes on. You have to move cities or say countries sometimes, or there are some emergencies. Learning at your own pace is something which really entitles the student to keep on doing. And definitely these kind of features supports your confidence, your overall critical thinking, and getting a gauge on things, and that goes hand in hand in your professional career, because in your professional life, the balls are coming at you from all corners, and people are throwing tasks at you, and having that kind of resource is really important. I'm so glad that Refuge is offering that. I would like to know a little bit about your student interactions, Aisha. As you have mentioned that you were not introduced to coding before Refuge, on any personal level or educational level, and you have also mentioned that other students have a certain idea of what they're doing in regards to coding and computing. So what you have learned from them in the interactive class sessions and through tutor groups, how was that experience? Because they would be coming with such queries which you have not heard about before. So as you have also mentioned before, that they come up with some ideas or queries which you think, okay, I've never thought about this, and that's another way of thinking. So how was that those experiences in that moments for your learning experience?
I believe it really helped me broaden my horizons when it came to what I was learning and how I could apply that. Because learning with a group of people mean you're getting in different input from all these different people, and then they were asking questions that I was like, oh my, I've never really thought, as you mentioned, like I've never thought of it like that,
Yeah.
and that really made you question what you knew and which things. It also helps you really learn what you were lacking in, because people would bring up questions or just tasks that were like, oh, I've never heard of this before, I've never seen this before. That again, all of it, I would say, all in all, really helped me broaden my horizons when it came to coding, how I could apply that coding, and yeah, just gave me a new input regarding things that I was not really seeing because I was looking at it one-minded focus according to what
Yeah.
I knew. So just different input from people helped me understand all the different aspects of it, basically.
Perfect, and that's great. Empowering students is one thing that Afrige never stops doing, and all the features that Afrige are offering through their courses are going to incorporate into it, and they're interconnected, and that's really amazing. Talking about personal growth, which you have just mentioned, what skills or knowledge did you gain from the course? Like specific skills or knowledge, you would say, okay, now this is something I can pinpoint and get a handle on. I got this particular thing from because of the course of Introduction to Python at a free learning.
I would say all my basics in coding that came to learning about loops, for loops, which loops, whatever loops that are there. Even my first sprint Hello World was with a Frege as well.
Okay.
Basically all the basics that are there in coding that I now apply in for my uni courses and my internship as well. Uh, yeah, all the basics that were there in coding, I learned it all from a Frege, and so I'm able to, because your basics you carry with you
Yeah.
wherever you're going. So for that, I was able to apply that when I was doing Python courses in uni, and then I was able to apply those basics that I learned with regards to loops and all etc. In the internship that I'm doing as well.
That's great. And I guess it would be wrong to say that the basic foundation to what you are doing at the moment and how you are going in your university studies and your internship was set by a Frege with all the things that you have. And also, I would like to know a little, as you have mentioned, the loops, the coding. There also a thing called bugs and identifying bugs and, managing them. That must be a task to do. You enjoy doing that?
Yeah, it's like I'd say it's once you write your program and you're like, oh, this is gonna be perfect, and then you run it, and then there are bugs and you're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, not this again. And so like really just trying to find that, I would say during the process of it, it's like, oh my God, why am I even doing this? But I feel like the feeling that you get once you figure out your bugs and your program runs smoothly, you're like, oh my God, this is the biggest win in my life. It, like in
Yes.
that moment, it feels like that. And I feel like there is some celebration when comes to bugs as well, because it makes you
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I never thought I would figure it out. And then you just get it, and it's a really happy moment at
It
that point, I
sure
would
is.
say.
It sure is. It feels like an achievement, and it actually is an
Yeah.
achievement. And but these achievements, these small, at the moment it looks really big. At the moment when you're going through that and you're just debugging it, and once you get it, it seems like a really big achievement, and it obviously builds your confidence to take on more challenges and not be scared of things that are going to be coming as a challenge. And that's really amazing. So how have you applied what you have learned to your studies, your career, and your personal projects?
For my university, as I was able to say, my basics I learned from a Frege. So when I went into uni, again, it was a new place, new people, everything new, and so I was kind of nervous about it. So during my first lesson that I ended up taking at uni was also, funnily enough, Introduction to Python. And when we were introduced to certain things that we had to code, I was like, oh, I've learned all of this with a Frege. So I was able to apply whatever I learned to those first few lessons at uni, which really helped me gain my confidence amongst my peers and just overall as well. And then basically then going on what I learned in uni, I was able to apply that for my personal projects as well. Because as I mentioned that I'm interning right now, and I obviously had to apply for jobs and stuff. So when I was building up my resume, I had to work on personal projects as well. So I was able to apply those Python learnings towards my personal projects so that I could put that in my resume. And now that I'm interning as well, I'm able to apply whatever I learned with the basics of Python towards that as well.
That's great, and having a foundation beforehand when you're going into your university, and having a course that is called Introduction to Python, and having grip on it before through a free G learning, and that must be a sense of thinking, okay, I know this, I got this. That's the kind of feeling that you have, and I can share what I've learned with my fellow students. Have you done that during that course which you were studying at the university? Help your fellow students, or the teacher identified, okay, you know this beforehand, so how you know about it? Did that happen when you were studying at uni after your course at a free G learning?
For helping students, I was able to do that because again, as I said, everybody starts somewhere. There were a lot of people who were starting with coding when they came to uni. So because I was able to have more knowledge than them, I was able to help them out. Plus, we also did a bunch of group projects as well. So when you do group projects, I guess it's everybody's input. So during that also, I was able to give whatever I learned to my peers. So that's, I guess, were the moments where I was able to apply what I learned and help
That's
others out with it.
That's amazing. And would you like to share a specific moment where you realize that the course made a positive impact for you? A specific moment, a classroom sitting, or maybe talking to your fellow students or learning something, and you get to realize that, oh, that the impact that a free course created in my life is impacting my growth right now.
As I mentioned, like when I was going to uni, new experience, new people, everything new. The first lesson also, as I mentioned, I took was Introduction to Python, and I was quite nervous because, as I mentioned, there are people at my uni who I know who have been coding since they were little kids, and that kind of makes you nervous
Yeah.
when you're the odd one out over there doing something new for the first time. So I was quite nervous. So when I sat for my first lesson, I was like, "Oh, my professor's gonna think I'm dumb and I don't know anything." Um, so when we sat down and started working on basically the first lesson we ever took with that in that class was our professor just like giving us things to code to see where we stood in our coding. So when he gave us the first few things, I was quite nervous, but upon reading those questions and then figuring them out and doing it, I was able to realize, oh, I covered all of these things when I was doing Introduction to Python without Afraid. So it made me a lot more confident in the moment, and I think I was
Mhm.
able to hold my own in that particular setting, and it really helped me overall, just being confident with my coding later on as well.
That's great, and having a grip on things when you are starting over something, and definitely, as you have mentioned, being alone there, it's a whole new environment of learning, and that sense, there's a sense of belonging that comes in. Okay, I know this, I got this, I have learned this beforehand. In all that newness that is going on around you, new environment, new classrooms, new people, a new country, as you have mentioned, that sense of belonging is definitely a helping hand, and that's really amazing. We have talked about all the things that helped you so far, Aisha, be it the interactive or the multimedia way of free teaching students, and the kind of things that you have accomplished because of the course. I would like to know a little bit about the challenges that you have faced as well. So, what challenges you faced during the learning journey, and how did you overcome them?
Um, the biggest challenges I faced was when we started going towards more advanced stuff when it came to coding. I always felt like I always would get stuck and wouldn't, I just understanding algorithms is
Okay.
gets a bit difficult. Just breaking it down is what gets difficult. So again, that's the because I would always look at algorithms all in one picture. I'm like, oh, I have to solve this big thing, and I was able to overcome that by I was taught by my teachers that when you see a question that you're not like an algorithm that you're not really understanding, scenario that you're not really understanding, just to break it down, write it in steps. So breaking into modular structures really helped me understand doing it separately for just like focusing on one loop that I'm going to include for example, in a whole program, just breaking it down really helped me understand the bigger picture. And then I was able to do smaller parts and then join it into one bigger part,
Ah.
which helped me really understand and solve whatever I was doing.
Yes, so looking at the problem holistically, and then breaking it down to small pieces, and then solving each one at a time, like a goal that you're about to achieve, and that really is some way to overcome challenges and overcome the difficulties or a problem that you're facing. That's the way. Very basic, I would like to say, not coming from the background of coding or computing. I would say in maths we do that. We look at the problem holistically once, and then we go step by step and solve it, and by the end you get your answers. That is really nice. So how helpful were the resources and feedback provided by Afrij during all the challenges that you were facing while your introduction to Python and coding, and you were going through all these new things and new learning? How was the resource and the feedback helping you?
The resources was helpful in understanding and learning, just getting new information. I would say the feedback was the main thing that really helped. It's like when you would do something and submit it, just getting somebody who already knows what they're doing, their feedback, and them telling you this is what you could have done differently, this is a better way to do this. Again, helped me with my learning. And I would say, yeah, the feedback was really important because it, again, was able to taught me new ways to solve the things that I was doing single-mindedly. So, yeah, the feedback was really helpful from all my teachers.
That's great. And having feedback and reacting towards it also helps you in later on in your professional life, because there the feedback will be coming in from all corners and all ends. So that's something I would like to throw in another question regarding this. Tell me a little bit about one particular or two particular feedbacks that you got, a feedback that made you, a feedback that broke you. Do you recall any kind of thing that, okay, a feedback came and you're like, okay, what I was doing, this is I need to do it again or something, or feedback that said, okay, you did it right in the first time. So any feedback coming from the team of Afrage which really impacted you? Do you have recall any experience from that?
I remember the bad one that was
Okay.
there. It was basically it's just I think I was also sick during that time. I spent a lot of time doing an assignment that we were given, and I thought I was doing really well at it because I'd been having a good streak with my coding at that point. So I was like, oh,
Mhm.
this is gonna be good, and I submitted it, and then I got feedback from my teacher where it was like, well, you did it right, but you did it. I did it with like the very basic skills. They wanted something new, like something like they wanted me to apply the things that I was learning, but I kept going back to the basic that I'd learned, but they wanted me to apply the new things that I'd learned. Like
Ah.
I kept on, for example, I kept on using loops or something when we were doing recursion or something like that. So they wanted me to apply the newer things. It's basically, I think I was trying to avoid the things that I found difficult and finding ways to do it in
Mm.
an easier way, which is also good, but you have to apply your learning. So they really wanted me to do that with all of that. And so I was like, oh my God, I spent so much time doing that and it's not even all right. And kind of was like, oh, I have to start from scratch, which kind of put me down. But then again, when I did it a second time was also what made me, you could say, because then when I did it a second time and submitted my work, it was like, oh, this is what I was looking for. You did pretty well over here. So I guess those feedbacks are what I remember.
And that's really great. I'm so glad that we have got to know about this, because having feedbacks and reacting to feedbacks is something which comes a long way and takes you a long way in your life, in your professional career, be it personal, be it professional, be it your studies or something that you're going to be learning. Because in today's day and age and how we are moving forward in future, information is all coming in from all grounds, and we have to have a grip on it, and that's really amazing. And also the sense of achievement that you feel that after doing that, so that's really great. That's a free is the motto to incorporate whatever you are learning to what you are doing, and that is really nice. So I would like to know, after all this that happened, getting the feedbacks and incorporating them, getting the learning and incorporating them, what are your what was life after your course? Do you feel Afrish played a role in helping you get where you are right now? And if it did, in what way?
I would say yes, because I started with them when I was in school, and then I ended up choosing that as my career option when I went to uni, and that is something that I'm working in. So I would say it was kind of, as I said, I started off with wanting to become a doctor, and now I'm not anywhere near it. So I could say, if I feel like if I had a bad experience at Afrige, I would not have wanted to stay in the field, because again, they were my introduction to coding. So the fact that I was able to have a good experience and just overall a positive learning environment really helped me later on with picking my course, my degree options, and then again my professional life as well later on when I'm done with uni. So I guess, yeah,
That's
had a
really
quite a big
great.
impact.
And I'm so glad, Aisha, that you have said something so important because okay, let's put it this way. Uh, having your students or being an institute where you're providing something, you're providing knowledge, education, building a foundation, it is so important to do it right. It is so important to do it with good intentions and care, and also the right way. Because if you go away from the basics or go away from that intention, a student who may have so much potential get tired of it, or may go into other dimensions. And it's very, very important. That's what a Freeze is offering, and that is really, really important. And I'm so glad that you are doing so many amazing things in your life at the moment when it comes to your education as well. We have not talked about your career so far, so do tell me, currently, what are you doing? Studies, in which semester you are? What are you studying? What particular courses are there? And in terms of your internship that you have mentioned, tell us a little bit about that too.
Well, I'm in my third year in uni currently, and so during our third year, we have to do an internship as part of our coursework, a 3 month long internship. So because we had our summer vacations right now because of Australian timing and stuff, so we
Mhm.
were advised to do it during our longer vacations this time. So I was currently interning right now in Saudi at a recruitment firm as their as a data analysis. So I was basically it's a recruitment firm with all of the employee data. They employ blue collar workers and white collar workers from around the globe to
Wow.
put them into the Saudi job market. So there's like a lot of employee data that they handle. So basically just analyzing that, arranging it, and creating their visualizations and stuff. So currently the company that I was interning at, they were going through a standardization process to go into more international markets towards, Europe and stuff, and they require you to have an ISO standardization thing. So they needed a lot of visualizations for their forms and stuff. It's quite a grueling, long process. So for the ISO
Mhm.
auditors, I was able to help them create those visualizations through my learnings from uni and basically off reach as well, you could say. And I was, yeah, I coded a bunch of stuff for them. Uh, and then that's what I was doing at my internship, basically.
That's great. That's so amazing, and I'm so happy for you. I'm kind of getting the whole picture right now. Okay, so I'm going to say it in words. So there's this girl who was about to go into medical, who was introduced to coding, got enrolled in a free learning, and then learned about it, got the feedback, had the tutors, learned the whole environment, and now achieving so many great things. Studying in Malaysia at Australian University, doing so many amazing things, and coming into said data sciences. And not only that, now Aisha is actually incorporating that learning into data sciences, helping a certain organization to recruit from around the globe, manage their data of white and blue collar personnel and professionals from around the globe, also helping the auditor with visual aid. This is so good. I'm so proud of yourself, and I must say that we are so proud at Afrige because you have achieved so many things, and that so much you have achieved at such a young age. I'm so glad that we got the opportunity to speak to you, and this is really, really nice. Coming in from all that you have experienced, Aisha, I would like to know your advice that you would like to give to the new learners who are about to join Afrige. What would be your advice in terms of learning, in terms of having an aptitude or a kind of an attitude towards the courses at Afrige and towards life as well?
I just say my advice would be don't be afraid to try new stuff, basically, because coming from my own experience, I was new to coding. I was afraid of it. And I took a chance, and then I ended up doing it, and it ended up turning great for me. It's decided, you could say, it's impacted the course of my entire life in a sense, with
Yeah.
my degree and my future careers career options, hopefully. So yeah, but that's, I would say the best advice I would give is just not to be afraid of trying something new. It could be the best thing that you do for yourself.
That's amazing. Yes, do not be afraid of trying new things, exploring new dimensions, and going into new avenues. Your life might you might end up changing your life in a very, very interesting and better way. That's amazing. And so far, we have discussed whatever we have discussed. I shall definitely say that a Freech is a recommendation for the new students coming in and for the people who are looking into learning through virtual means. That's amazing. But I would like to know you would recommend a freeze to others, and I think I can say for both of us that we definitely would. But why? Give me a particular one or two reasons to recommend a freeze to the new students or people who are listening and watching the podcast at the moment.
Um, I would say the two biggest things I would say is, first of all, it's a positive learning environment, which matters a lot. Especially again, as I said, if you're new like me into something, and if you don't get a positive learning environment, which it might make you more afraid of the new thing that you do,
Yeah.
might stop you from taking chances on more stuff. And the other thing is just the constant communication that you're able to have with your tutor is quite helpful, because you can get a question at any time of the day, and just not to find yourself stuck at one thing, and just getting the help that you require in that moment right then and there is very helpful. It helps you just like achieve more, I guess, if all your
Yeah.
doubts are cleared and stuff. So yeah, the constant communication with the tutor and a positive learning environment, I would say.
That's really amazing. And these are two actually very key things when you walking into a virtual learning medium to have that accessibility, flexibility, and as well as the environment of growth, not just learning, but environment of growth where you can actually grow and ask you. And that's so nice and amazing. Thank you so much, Aisha. We are almost towards the end of our session at Alumni Stories. I would like to know, is there anything else about your learning journey that would you like to share? Something I have missed that you are experiencing right now? Please share that with us.
Anything about my learning journey? I don't really have anything more to say. You really covered everything that was there. You were really
Yeah.
extensive in the interview, so I don't really have anything new to add to it, except just Fiji learning is quite good.
Okay, thank you so much. So, any messages for the community? Like we have your former teachers as well who are currently working with Afrige. Any message for the Afrige community?
Yeah, it's like I just would like to thank them for the positive environment that they were able to create for me and just help me with my studies, because it like had quite an impact for me moving forward. So yeah, just the environment that they created and the way they helped me clear my doubts was just like I'd really like to thank them for all of that. I hold quite gratitude towards them for that.
Thank you so very much. And I would really like to mention this here that it was a privilege to be able to talk to you, to be able to learn from you, and have this amazing energy that you are resonating at the moment, and also to talk to a certain student and professional from a certain caliber. It was really a pleasure for me. So thank you so much, Aisha, for giving us this time and coming on to the podcast. It was a really good pleasure for us. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And with that, this brings us to the end of today's episode of A Free Alumni Stories. A huge thanks again to Aisha Zafar for sharing her journey, her growth, and the amazing things she's accomplishing at the moment. She have accomplished and she's going to accomplish in the future. She completed her course, Introduction to Python on A Free. At A Free, we definitely believe never stop, and the stories like this remind us why we do what we do. So if you're listening and you're feeling inspired, remember your learning journey could be the next one we feature. Don't forget to follow the podcast, share the episode with someone who might need the boost, who might need the encouragement and the appreciation. And stay tuned for more stories from learners just like you and just like Aisha Zafar. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep believing in what you want to achieve with a free learning. My name is Ahad Ali Siddiqui, and I'm going to sign off now. Thank you so much.